All right, so guys, this is number 16 out of 10.3. And so the problem here says you're given a choice of taking the simple interest on $100,000 invested for 2 years at a rate of 5%, or the interest on $100,000 invested for 2 years at an interest rate of 5%, but it's being compounded quarterly. And it says which investment earns the greater amount of interest, and then give the difference between the amounts of interest earned by the two investments. Okay, so let's do the first one. Let's do the simple interest. So remember, guys, my simple interest formula is I equals P times R times T. Okay, so let's do this one. So remember, we have $100,000 times, our interest rate is 5%, so as a decimal, that's 0.05, and our time is going to be 2 years. So all I'm going to do here, y'all, I'm just going to take my calculator and I'm going to go ahead and do this. So here's my calculator app. Let me clear this out. 100,000 times 0.05 times 2. And I'm coming up with 10,000. Okay. So that's giving me 10,000. Okay. Now, let's go ahead and see if we can figure this out for the compound interest. So if you remember, my compound interest formula is A equals P times 1 plus R over N to the power N times T. Okay, so let's go ahead and do this one. So this is going to be 100,000 times 1 plus, remember, my interest rate is still 5%. But now things are being compounded quarterly. So my N is going to be 4 and raised to the power 4 times 2, because we're still looking at 2 years. So the only thing I'm going to do here when I do this on is I'm just going to go ahead and enter this in directly on my calculator. So let me grab my calculator again. So 100,000, 1, 2, 3, times parentheses 1 plus 0.0, 5 divided by 4 raised to the power 4 times 2. Okay. And so if you notice here, the number I'm coming up with is 110,448 and 61 cents. So 110,448 and 61 cents. But remember, that's the total amount. If we want to find how much interest we earned, we got to subtract off the 100,000 that we invested in there. So if I subtract off 100,000, we're going to end up with 10,448 and 61 cents, right? So which one gives us a greater amount in return? The simple interest only gives me 10,000. The compound interest gives me 10,448 and 61 cents. So when I look at the question here, it says the investment with which interest? Well, the compound interest earns how much more? So now we got to take the difference between, between this number and this number. So we're going to get an additional $448.61, okay? So that's number 16 out of 10.3.